Hi again, I'm Dean Kurtz with Dino's Rock Talk, and today it's a birthday for three really good musicians in rock. Today we have Ian Gillan, the singer of Deep Purple, mostly. He has his own bands, Ian Gillan Band, he's played with Black Sabbath. Then we have Ginger Baker, the great drummer, dual bass drummer, that played with Cream, and Blind Faith, his own bands, and so many other people he's jammed with. And last but not least, John Deacon with Queen, the bass player, and wrote some good songs with them too. Anyway, I'm going to start out with Ian Gillan because when I was growing up, Ian was the dude. When I was 15, I think I rode about 5 miles from Fullerton to Anaheim on a bike to get Deep Purple in rock, because I think I heard Child in Time on the radio, and that just blew me away. I just never heard any band like that. And Ian Gillan's vocals were great. He had such a range that he could cover, plus the screams. You know, when you're young, you love screaming singers. At least I did. Anyway, they became my favorite band after hearing that album, and oh, he is just something else. He's still singing out there, and you know, after all that singing, his voice isn't quite the same, but I give him credit because he still wants to. He doesn't have to. I mean, how old is he? Let's see. He was born 1945. He's 80. He's still out there singing rock and roll at 80. I give him a lot of credit. And man, he was so good. Like I said, Child in Time is one of my favorite songs. And it rocks, and it's just a great one. And I'm going to go through a few albums that are my favorites. Obviously, I'm going to do Deep Purple in rock. This is a classic. It was recorded pretty much in the red, so it's not like an audiophile recording. But man, for the time, it was just killer. And it's one of my favorite albums of all time. And of course, we have Machine Head, which is another great album by them that got them really popular, especially when you think of Smoke on the Water, which is one of those riffs that everybody starts out playing. But another favorite of mine is Made in Japan. This is my favorite live album. As you can tell, I like Deep Purple, but Ian Gillan sings Child in Time on this one, and he couldn't do it very long, but I did get to see him in '72, and man, one of the best live bands ever. Their musicianship's just incredible for a rock band. They're all so talented, and they did do Child in Time, so I got to see it live, and if you've heard that album, it's amazing. And what I loved about some of those old bands like Deep Purple, Cream, Zeppelin, is when they were live, they do long jams. And I thought that was kind of a great musicianship thing. Even though I like bands that are real tight and can play it exactly the same, but that was really, really cool. Next, we have Ginger Baker. And Ginger Baker was another incredible drummer. He was one of the first in rock that did dual bass drums. And he was amazing. I remember I was getting lessons for drums in about 1970, I think about the same time I was 15. And, well, it was a little bit after Cream, but I remember going in with my first practice, doing some lessons, and saying, that guy's not that great. And he goes, well, try doing this. Well, I couldn't even hardly keep a beat. And he showed me some of his quadruples and some of his offbeat stuff he was doing, which sometimes you can't even really hear on the album the way it's recorded. But an incredible drummer who was really starting out in jazz. Then later he got into some African rhythms when he went down there. I think he went to Nigeria. And man, just an incredible guy. Really original and really good. And a lot of people, I know that one documentary they have on him that shows him to be the meanest guy in the world. Well, there was a guy I knew that played bass with him in the Baker Gurvitz Army, And he said he got along with them great. He was really professional. He was not like that, but he didn't want anybody to know because it was this whole thing he had going. Now, I know with Jack Bruce, he never got along with Jack Bruce. I don't know why. Personality clash, I guess. But Cream was amazing. And here are some of the albums I love by Ginger Baker. We'll go back to Disraeli Gears. Now, this was a cool album. I really still like this. And one of my favorite colors. And we've got the one I probably played the most, Wheels of Fire. This is such an amazing album. Studio side, live side, just incredible. And then we'll go back to their first. I've got to put this one too because this was early here in this. Fresh Cream. I Feel Free, love that, love that. Sweet Wine, Spoonful, the long cover they did of Willie Dixon. Cat Squirrel, another one they covered. I'm So Glad. They did a few covers. They were really into the blues back then, but another good one. And then finally, well, there's more, but Blind Faith. Another great album with Steve Winwood on it. Rick Gretsch, who they got from Family, the band. And another great album. But Ginger Baker, as they'd say on the live album, Ginger Baker, please. And then next we have, like I said, not the least, John Deacon, the bass player with Queen. I remember when this first album came out by them, and I got it the first day it was released. Went down to the store and saw it, and I think I heard Keep Yourself Alive on the radio, so I bought it just on that alone, one song. And it was the early 70s. I was going, how can bands this good keep coming out? It was just blowing my mind how good these bands were. Well, that first album was awesome. It's probably my favorite album by them. I know it's not recorded as good. I know they got better. But if you were there when it came out, it was just incredible. Just an incredible album. And a little bit more hard rocking, which I liked a lot. And that's this one, the first Queen album. Keep Yourself Alive, starting it out. Great King Rat, Liar, Modern Times Rock and Roll. It doesn't get much harder than that. Jesus, Seven Seas of Rye to end it. Very, very good album. And of course, you have to have Night at the Opera because it's their classic. I worked at a record store back then, and I used to play this all the time. Licorice Pizza in Anaheim. And we played that one to death. And then probably my favorite live album, even though they probably got better, is this one. The Live at the Rainbow in '74. For a three-piece band, most of the time, you know, I know there are some keyboards from the good old singer, Freddie, but that band for a three-piece could really get heavy. And speaking of Licorice Pizza, that's where I actually went to buy my album by Deep Purple, the In Rock album. And I think I rode my bike about 5 miles to get that. But what's really crazy is about 76, 6 years later, I got a job there from my good old friend Craig. And that was probably the best job I've ever had. And that was a good, fun job. But it was a great day today for rock birthdays. I'm Dean Kurtz. This is Dino's Rock Talk. And hey, if you like it, come on back. I'll start doing some more.